Hi, I'm Lars Kallman. Today is July 14, 2025, and I wanted to re-enter the world of podcasting in a very grounded, peaceful place in front of a ancient oak here at Stanford campus, and share some statements that are coming from my heart. And more and more, I'm finding ways to feel more connected from my heart to my mind and other parts of me. And I realize that the world is in need of people speaking their truth and being authentic and open and honest and transparent enough, and really stepping into leadership roles. The world needs more quiet people who typically can just live on the edge of society, to open up and be honest and forthright and share our ideas. I really believe this is true. One reason being that GPT-5 is about to release. And when GPT-5 releases, it's going to be yet a more powerful tool that we can use toward the benefit of humanity, ideally. I was staunchly against using GPT as a therapist. And then I decided really what I want is to not be so all or nothing, to use this tech and find ways to be connected with others. Because I think what I was afraid of is that I would use the technology as a fill-in for real connection. And what I'm working toward here is rebuilding connection, and I think that's the theme of this talk, and maybe the theme of more talks to come soon, is rebuilding and strengthening our networks. If you know me, you know I lived at Esalen and worked and took a lot of classes and trainings from 2007 till like 2015, and became a massage therapist there. Got really passionately into Gestalt and finding my own way to my potential. Beginning to dip my toes into what actualization in the human potential movement means for me. And when I left Esalen, 2015, 2016, a lot of major changes. You know, there's always massive change, but massive changes that I sure didn't see coming, you know, began to come successively. The election of the first Trump presidency, the intensity with which the Esalen community appeared to move onto Facebook, although that was me too. I moved onto Facebook to stay connected. And then COVID happened and a lot of other things happened, and I really didn't see my down spiral coming, but I got into a wicked down spiral trying to save a teacher friend, Patrick, from his own down spiral, and I got pulled under. I'm now both a body worker and a part-time lifeguard, which is a wonderful gig. But one of the things we do in our trainings is pretend that we're a drowning victim, pulling somebody under the water, pulling the lifeguard under the water, and the lifeguard has to push the person down and do what they need to do to get their head above water. Well, I didn't do that when I was faced with a monumental task of helping a person who was troubled and in a really bad spot. And then I got dragged under, and then I fragmented. I didn't really understand what it meant to be fragmented until it happened to me. And now I have so much more compassion for so many people who also live in either a state of dissociation and spacing out to what's happening in the world, or in some sort of utopian idealism. I am attempting to find balance and find hope, and find that I can be utopian and also realistic when it comes to the meta crisis. If you've heard that term before, the meta crisis refers to the kind of confluence of a whole lot of complicated, difficult, challenging things: climate emergency, and the collapse of biodiversity and systems. I hope I'm not going to lose you. Anyone's going to be like, turn the channel right now, we don't want to hear it. The nuclear, armed nation states with intensely authoritarian leaders who could decide at any moment to start a thermonuclear domino effect. That's another part of the meta crisis. And I would add to it, to the AI being an aspect of the meta crisis, the algorithmically influenced patterns that have emerged in humanity, which push us to polarize, to tribalize, to be all or nothing in our thought distortions, and to lose our connections. I know it because it happened to me. I lost a lot of connections, and I had to make a full-on, full-stop deactivation of Facebook because it became an addiction like my other addictions had been in the past. I've got a very addictive personality, so I've been addicted to cigarettes and booze and drugs, and I've gotten clean off of these incredible addictions, but the screen and social media were an addiction that was I just couldn't find a way to do harm reduction with Facebook. And I'm working on ways to be mindful and caring in the use of YouTube and all the talks that I take in and stuff like that. I'm in this unique position, I think, and I think that my voice and my narrative and my story really matters right now. I'm in the unique position of not having a family or a relationship at present. I've been caring for my mom, who's she was pretty severely wounded in an awful car crash where the other person fell asleep and swerved and hit her head on at a local street, Alma in Palo Alto, and it broke her ankles and it broke all these ribs and bones, and poor mom has been very accident prone. She has fallen a number of times, and anyway, she's a real hero and a trooper, and she's back on her feet doing PT and limping along, but I'm not in the position, with my income as it is, to not be living at home. So here I am, and I take it as a gift. I accept it as a blessing, because it's an opportunity also to go to yoga every day, to have a spiritual practice, to meditate every day, to have opportunity to make talks, and to journal and write. And I have this freedom. On the other side, the shadow side of it is I'm lonely. I would like to have a partner. My last boyfriend and I split in a very amicable way. The COVID, I think, was a big part of it, and then my own inability to cope well with the changes in the world were a big part of it. And anyway, it's hard to find the right person, and finding the right person wouldn't solve everything either. What I think is really needed is I'd like to have a job, or at least some sort of additional income to being a body worker, healer type. Don't like to call myself a healer, but I like to offer that quality of service, and a lifeguard, which is wonderful because I get to go to the gym every day and I'm pumped, I'm strong. But really what I miss is the beautiful, nourishing, nurturing connection of living in a community where people are living to their highest potential. And that was true for a little while there at Esalen. We were running smooth, and then things changed. But there's something about being present and connected, and being able to be okay with our, agree with our disagreements in such a way that we can hug people we don't agree with. That was true for a little while there, and I choose to believe that the way through the meta crisis has to do with re-strengthening our connections, and strengthening our connections to technology like ChatGPT and other LLMs. Not fearing them, but finding ways to use them to heal our own broken places. I think that the most important thing I can say in this talk, which I'm not going to go on much longer, is that these LLMs can help us individually and collectively move from living from fear and living from the ego mind, which is always seeking to blame and not take responsibility, and coming from a place of protectiveness and fear, to the higher self, Holy Spirit. This tech helps people do that. There's a tone in the way that it delivers its message that I approve of. Maybe not entirely. Yeah, there's always some sense of this could go wrong, and this isn't perfect or right, and there's the hallucinating and yada yada yada. I really think that the way to get through is to begin to use this technology to come from love, to connect our hearts with our heads, which is not something that a lot of our leaders have the ability to do. They are coming from their mind, they're not present. And what Esalen taught us at its, at least when I was there, now a long time ago, Esalen taught us how to be present, a lot of tools in being present and listening, and not allowing our ego mind, superego, inner critic self to block us from living to our potential. So I really, I'm hoping to begin to make more talks and perhaps open a or put this on Blue Sky or something, or YouTube, and not let my own inner critic say, oh, but you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't talk about your problems with addiction because people judge you immediately. That's stuff that I need to actually face, be open and honest with people. I'm taking really good care, and I have for years now. I went through a dark night of the soul, and I came out of it stronger, and I really want to help. And if you know organizations or groups that I could benefit, teaching sensory awareness, leading breath work, or just helping not be a fear-oriented organization or group as so much as a presence-oriented, loving-oriented organization or group. I'm super open to your comments and feedback. And the last thing I'll say is it's hard to actually get myself to call somebody these days because everything has been so digitized. I make check-ins, and I share them with my friends using the screen. And I do talk to people, but people from the past, like Esalen, former community, don't talk to too many, because they went to Facebook, and maybe Blue Sky is the answer for now. I don't want to make any big promises, but I need to be more, I want to be more, I wish to be more connected within myself, with you, with the oak trees and the birds and the bees, and I want to do everything I can to help nature survive and to help our future children have a home, and not be living in regret when the big waves come, because all evidence points to that being the case, inevitably, and probably pretty soon. All right. Sending you love and care and breath and peace.